Good morning. Today we'll be talking about healthy aging and maintaining physical and mental wellness as you age. With me, I have two very interesting guests. Good morning, Dr. Toyin and Dr. Adeola. It's a pleasure to have both of you with us today, talking about healthy aging, particularly as we're talking around the World Health Day, which talks about health for all and the importance of health for all. And in particular, in Nigeria, we do not recognize, and I feel we do not pay enough attention to our elderly and maintaining the health and wellness of our elderly. And also, interestingly, as we age, I'm not sure that we recognize how much we can do to affect our long-term viability or our long-term strength, our long-term, mental health and physical health by doing certain things right now. So if I can just start with you, Dr. Toyin, can you just tell us, as you're a geriatrician, what is aging? When are you officially considered old? Some people say 60 is the new 40. What are your thoughts?
Hello, Dr. Pamela. Thank you very much for having me on. Right, so aging simply means the process of growing older. In terms of the body, we're talking about the physiology. So the cells grow older and things start to decline. That's basically what aging is about. Getting older, cells getting older, weaker, and things declining. That, in a nutshell, is aging. When you talk about the age cutoff, should I say, between young and old, the WHO had set 60. 60 is officially regarded as old age. Unbelievable, I know. When I first got to the UK in 1994, I think, my first job in geriatric medicine, the cutoff for geriatric medicine then was 65. So they had upped the game a little bit. You have to remember that in Nigeria at that time, our life expectancy was 54. Now that has gone up worldwide. So for geriatric medicine, the cutoff now is 75. So in terms of medicine, we regard anybody over the age of 75 as being old. So that has shifted a bit. But the world definition of old age is still 60. It's still 60.
Well, I know there's some people who would hear that and be shocked. Some people listening to this program say, no, you can't be talking about me. Because some people are in pretty good shape. Yes. And I think that's what we all want to be in, excellent shape. So when 60 comes, we tell them, you've got to be kidding. They're not talking about me. And when 70 comes or when 75 comes, you say, you know what, I think I'm going to accept that definition now.
Yeah.
So we're talking about aging. What are the most important physical health considerations when you're talking about healthy aging?
So for me, I mean, the whole thing about physical health is about robustness. So when you get to that age, so let's call it 75, aging actually starts at 30. From the time you are born up till 30, you are growing. Once you hit 30, you stop growing, and then things start to stagnate, and then things start to decline. So what declines? Everything declines. So brain function can decline, heart function can decline, blood vessels, vision, hearing, your muscles, skeleton, everything can decline. And as people grow older, don't forget that the cells are also older. Old cells can start to malfunction at a point. So things like cancers and all those things like dementia, they come on. They're called they're age-related diseases. They come on, or they're more common in people who are a certain age, are older than a certain age. So that was rather broad. So I hope that kind of covers it in a way.
It does. I'd just like to bring Dr. Adeola in. I know she's here talking to us. And her specialty is psychiatry, because we're talking not just about physical wellness, but we're also talking about mental wellness. And I think, mental health and mental wellness is a big, big thing right now. And it's a really good thing that people are thinking about it and talking about it. Dr. Adeola, can you just, throw in your own thoughts about aging and wellness and how people can stay well as they age mentally?
Okay, thank you for having me, Dr. Pamela. So as the World Health Organization has defined health to be a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not just the mere absence of diseases. So we all know that there's no health without mental health. It's quite important. And also the fact that the body and mind are quite connected, they're interconnected. So yes, you can have some physical health problems that might affect your mental health, and you might have some mental health problems that would affect your physical health. So what I'm trying to say is that it is important to bring mental health into wellness, into aging, because it does affect people as they age, especially elderly people. We know that people that as they grow old, their children grow older, there's likelihood of having emptiness syndrome, which is fear of my children leaving home, everybody's leaving me. There's fear of losing purpose, fear of caring for the children, fear of being in control and all of that. So it's quite important as we grow older that we should take care of our mental health. We should not neglect ourselves or sacrifice ourselves so much to raise our kids as we're growing. We should ensure that we're also living a life of purpose as we grow, so that when that time comes and when the kids grow old, they leave home, you don't feel empty as they leave. You also feel like you've lived a fulfilled life. Because in the end of the day, that's what mental health is all about. You being able to understand your potential, cope with normal stress, work fruitfully and productively, and contribute meaningfully to your society. So what I'm saying in essence is, for your mental health as you old, you just need to be aware that there's something called mental health as you old. Make sure that you take good care of yourself. Don't neglect yourself. I understand that we just celebrated International Women's Day, and I was trying to tell people that you have to not neglect yourself as women. You have to take care of yourself, like be intentional about caring for yourself. Don't put yourself last on the self-care list. Just do things that make you happy.
That's a difficult one, because women as wives, as mothers, we tend to do that automatically. I know it's easy to say, but it's difficult to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So I suppose that's one of the reasons why we are here today, to create awareness, to educate people that we need to be intentional about not only our physical health, but also our mental health.
Thank you so much. So swinging back into physical health, can we talk about food? I actually, before we do that, Dr. Ajala, I know you're in the UK, and Dr. Toyin, you are back here in Nigeria. I've always been curious about dementia, because dementia has always seemed like a Western condition. They always talk about dementia, Alzheimer's, etc., etc. But I don't know, how common is it here for us in Nigeria and Nigerians? Is it something that people should be aware of as an issue?
Yes, unfortunately it is. In fact, for me at this point, it's actually one of my heartbreak issues, because, as you're aware, I was in the UK. I trained as a geriatrician in the UK. I was in the UK from 1993 until 2018 when I came to Nigeria. Right now, I'm back and forth. And I always believed that dementia was a Western problem. I always did, because I didn't see people with dementia. We don't, not out on the streets, not many. And came to Nigeria, and I was shocked at the degree. I'm shocked at the percentage. I would go as far as to say that 80% of people over 80 in Nigeria have got dementia. They have got a degree of cognitive impairment, ranging from mild to severe, many of them with behavioral problems. That was shocking. That was shocking. So the huge burden on my service right now is dementia. That's the huge burden. majority of the people we see have got dementia. Practically every household in Nigeria at this time is affected. One person, practically every household, there's someone with dementia.
Now, is this the regular dementia? Is it Alzheimer's? Have we been able to test? Do we know if there are any sort of hereditary features to it?
No, so when you, in the West, you know, we talk about Alzheimer's being the commonest cause of dementia in the West. So, you know, the treatments are geared towards Alzheimer's disease. But what I found in Nigeria, once I started testing and doing scanning, etc., is that we have the majority of people with dementia in Nigeria have got vascular dementia, which is where they've had insults to the brain from things like high blood pressure, hypertension, having strokes, etc. You know, I mean, high blood pressure and hypertension are the same thing, sorry. High blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, you know. So when you do the MRI scanning, you see lots of vascular problems in the brain. Psychiatrists, someone like Dr. Adeola would say, and you know, this is something when I have my MDTs with the psychiatrists, they say, oh, it could be mixed. But we get our treatment towards vascular dementia. The majority are have got vascular problems. Poorly controlled hypertension, poorly controlled diabetes, poorly controlled cholesterol, maybe not controlling stress, maybe like Dr. Adeola would have us, you know, as she pushes, as I know, people just neglect themselves, and a high percentage are women. A very high percentage of our moms and, you know, have got dementia. So it's something we really need to look at. We have to protect ourselves. We have to do better. We have to be intentional, like Dr. Adeola says, about aging better. We have to start doing those things now so that we are in the 30%. 30% of dementias are preventable.
Now, I think this is really critical, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Thank you very much. You know, when you spoke earlier about the vascular nature of dementia, you know, all the while I had thought, you know what, the reason for the dementia in our elderly was perhaps, you know, the fact that people go into retirement and then they don't have anything to do. And the brain, like a muscle, if you don't use it, you lose it. But now with that evidence that vascular issues are the cause of it, can you talk to us? Tell us, how can we prevent these vascular insults? A lot of people don't even know they're hypertensive or they're diabetic. People don't do, you know, we have what I call the ostrich behavior. People say, you know, it's not my portion, I'm not, and they'd rather not go for tests than to find out what is wrong with them and treat it. How do we deal with this?
I think it's all about education. I mean, people just need to know that when you get to a certain age, you start to go for your checkups. You check your blood pressure every day. You make sure that, you know, every 3 months or so, you have blood tests to determine whether you have got diabetes, you have got high cholesterol. They manage their stress levels. They exercise, big one. And I think we should talk, yes, Dr. Pamela, we need to talk about exercise. I think exercise is actually so key. People that exercise look after themselves. You know, when you look at it, most of the people that exercise, that make that effort to go out and work out 30 minutes 3 times a week, they check their blood pressure, they check their cholesterol, they go to the doctor. When things hurt here and there, when they have a headache, they go and have it checked out. It is proven that people who are OCD with their health from a young age actually age better, much better. I said it before, 30% of dementias are preventable. Even the Alzheimer's dementia that is so common in the West is linked to vascular problems. So everybody, once you hit a certain age, and with Black Africans, we have a problem with hypertension. We have this high renin, hypertension that we were born with. It's a genetic trait. It's not something we can give up. It's just something we have to manage. There is a figure to it. Check your blood pressure. Wake up in the morning, go to Med Plus or Health Plus. Go and buy one of those small electronic figs. Check your blood pressure every morning. Be a bit OCD about it. It doesn't matter what anybody says. You want to preserve your brain. So check your blood pressure every morning and try and maintain a blood pressure around 120/80. If you can't, go and see a doctor. Go to a doctor. You need medication. I had a patient that came to me in 2011 when I was at Reddington, a 40-year-old. I was 40 at the time, with 4 children, with a blood pressure of 200/120, who told me that she had prayed as she came in, that she would not hear any bad news and nobody would convince her to take medication. I did, because I just said to her, look, you're 40 and 40, you got 4 children, I have as well. If anything happens to you, well, it's going to be stepmom looking after that person. You might not even be dead. You might just be a vegetable. Anyway, by the time I finished with all of that, she took the medication and she went home. And I pray, because I haven't seen her since, that she is fine, that she carried on taking her medication. Sometimes you need medication. Same with cholesterol, same with diabetes. You need to watch what you eat. You need to watch how much you drink, in terms of, alcohol, even coffee, all these things. And then you need to exercise. Just look after yourself. Do things that will distress you, and Dr. Adeola can come in and tell us all those things. Because like I said, I have found that a high proportion, especially of women, we've talked about this before, women are wired to put everybody first. So they sit down, they put everybody first, and they go to church. They don't do anything else. The only thing is they go to church and they go to the mosque. And then at age 70, they have dementia. And everybody's wondering why. But they don't check their blood pressure. They don't check their cholesterol. They don't do diabetes. They're praying for their children to get married, it's all good. I've got 4 children, 4 daughters. So of course I'm praying as well. But I also look after me, because I'm praying that by the time my children get to that age, I will be able to function mentally. I'll be able to remember them. I'd know what's going on. So, we have to be intentional. That's Dr. Adeola's term. Intentional about looking after these things. Check your blood pressure. Go for your blood test. Go and see a doctor. Once you hit 40, make sure you have your yearly medical checkup.
Dr. Adeola, please, can you take it from there? Take it from there. We have to dig deep.
Okay, thank you very much. From the mental health point of view, I would like to emphasize on the importance of taking care of ourselves with regards to how stressed we can get. So whenever we are stressed, the body releases a lot of hormones, cortisol, and those hormones are definitely going to increase it causes palpitation, increase heart rates. You want to fight the stress. That's how the body is wired to do, because the body believes this is like an attack. Just like, God forbid, if there's someone coming into burgling your house, you want to attack. So the body sees this as a threat, and the body wants to fight. So if you keep yourself under undue stress for a very long time, prolonged stress, then your body keeps producing cortisol a lot. And that has been linked to a lot of mental health problems like anxiety, depression, sleep disorders. A lot of women don't sleep well. And sleep in itself has been proven to help both your physical and mental health. If you don't sleep adequately, it's required for you to sleep adequately. For an average adult, you need 7 to 8 hours of sleep to be able to function well. But I found out that a lot of people don't even get enough sleep. 5 hours, some people 3 hours. And that's one of the best gifts God has given to us, sleep. It helps repairs the body. It helps improve cognitive functions. It helps prevent dementia. If you cultivate this habit of doing things that are not even that expensive, sleep, taking adequate water, moving your body. So when people hear exercise, they think it's about going to the gym and doing some vigorous exercises. But just, moving your body. Sometimes when I wear my watch, it just reminds me to stand up. I just get up from my workplace, and then I move, I stretch all these things, they add up together to help improve not only your physical health, but also your mental health. I always, like Dr. Toyin said, I'm always the fan of prevention. I always tell people, be intentional about your mental health. Mental health is even, thank God there's a lot of awareness now, but then it used to be at the back of discussion. We talk about physical health. Everybody wants to say, okay, yes, I have hypertension. They agree to that. But then when it comes to mental health, nobody wants to be depressed. God forbid. God forbid, it's not my portion, but I am here to let you know that it's okay, even if you're experiencing the symptoms, it's okay to ask for help. You know, early identification of these symptoms and prompt treatment has been proven to, you know, to lead to better outcomes. So if you keep it to yourself, you keep praying and asking God, oh, help me, I don't seek help, then you are more likely to have poor prognosis or poor outcome. So what I'm saying in essence is that, yes, you're exercising, yes, you're drinking water, yes, you're sleeping well, but if you do come down with symptoms of depression, for instance, ask for help. It's okay to seek help. You know, go for your checkups, like Dr. Toyin said. Make sure you take care of yourself as a human being.
Can I interject there? Because I had to write down some of the things you said, because we're talking about dementia. You talked about cortisol. Very important, because if you keep having that enhanced release of cortisol, it does many things to the body. It causes inflammation. So it's it causes inflammation. That inflammation, constant, those things are the things that lead to dementia. You know, when you talk about Alzheimer's, cortisol makes people eat more. So when people are under stress and you keep releasing cortisol, people eat more. The people that eat more have high blood pressure, they put on weight, they have diabetes. So all these things, they're all linked with, you know, dementia and frailty in old age. You talked about sleep, same thing. You said it. So when you sleep, sleep has been designed to help us to repair ourselves, so that as we're getting older, it helps us to reverse some of the decline that the body tends to have. I mean, the nature of the body is, you get older, you hit 30, you start to decline. The cells start to decline. Sleep repairs that. So sleep is important. And then finally, I'm very glad you touched on depression. Depression, I wrote up on brain health recently. Untreated depression leads to dementia. In many people, not everybody, but in fact, there are some people who have a syndrome called pseudo dementia, where they've just been depressed for years. They're so depressed that they have lost cognitive function, and nobody knows why. People just call me and say, oh, my mom's, you know, dementia. And then you find that the person has just been so depressed. And what you need to do is treat that depression, and like magic,
exactly,
cognitive function comes back, so that the dementia, quote unquote, is cured.
Exactly. You know, I've actually come across some patient that came in with pseudo dementia, and then we're thinking, oh, we need to do all this assessment that we do for patients with dementia. But then once we start them on antidepressants, you start seeing them, they come alive. All the cognitive problems all gone. Because yes, we in depression, you do have some cognitive problems. They are forgetful, they find it difficult to concentrate, they are slow, there's psychomotor retardation and all of that. So yes, it's possible to have depression mimic dementia, in pseudo dementia.
I'm going to have insist that we do a part 2 of this, because I haven't even begun with all my questions. Things like, you know, how do we, you know, get older people to stay motivated to do this? There's just so much that I actually have to talk about, and you won't believe it. Time is up. We've actually, you know, run out of time. So before we go for this part 1, I must insist on a part 2. Can I just have your last words? Do you have any last words for our listeners, Adeola and Dr. Toyin? Dr. Adeola first.
All right, for me, I'm going to just advise us to set healthy boundaries. So if you want to reduce stress, one of the ways by which you can reduce stress is to set healthy boundaries. We have to start learning to say no, so that we can conserve our energy as we age.
Right. Okay. So for me, I'm just going to say that once you hit a certain age, I would have to say 40. You must make sure that you start to have your health checks. Keep an eye on your blood pressure. Ensure that, you know, you're doing your blood tests to detect whether you've got diabetes, cholesterol, and make sure it is managed properly. See your doctor.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for new video updates.